Georgia's up to 8.5 too. Wow, that's pretty crazy. All right, what's up, everyone? Back in. Season's over, guys. Season's over. Bowl games start. I guess Army Navy still has to happen, but the ending. I win. I'm the only one to go positive at plus 0.54 units. So as a whole, just pretty fucking awful. But yeah, shitty season coming to an end, I guess. But I mean,
If
what are you gonna
Michigan
do?
doesn't score that late touchdown, no one wins.
No one wins. I finished the year like minus 1.4 units. So yeah, Michigan honoring the shooting victim honestly saved my whole year. But I feel like Saturday, I guess you could call Alabama an upset, but other than that, it was pretty chalk. Everyone I guess the Oklahoma State Baylor, but in the end, that game didn't matter. It would have been cooler if that game ended up mattering because that was a really good football game and it was a great ending to a football game. But in reality, that game didn't mean anything to anything. So you got obviously Bama finished 1, Michigan finished 2, Georgia finished 3, and Cincinnati finished 4. I don't think anyone. I mean, do you guys disagree at all with how the rankings were?
I thought Michigan.
I get why Bama got 1, but I still think Michigan had a okay chance at getting it too. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think there's any wrong in giving it to Bama.
Yeah, I think Bama's wins were just better. Honestly, I think that's what it comes down to. They beat Georgia. That's really the.
I really don't think it matters in the end because if they would have switched, Michigan was playing Georgia no matter what. So
you think they would have dropped them to 4?
Yeah, I personally do. Yeah,
that would have been interesting.
I feel like the committee wouldn't have made Georgia Bama for a playoff,
and they would have done them back to back.
Yeah, I get that too.
I actually don't think that had anything to do with it. Yeah, you don't want to play them back to back, but honestly, watching Michigan play, they scored 3 touchdowns late, but their offense kind of looked like dick all game. It wasn't like they. And now Iowa's offense is horrible and their defense dominated the game, but it's not like Michigan was just flawless, especially on offense.
No.
And Iowa's not good. So, but the Big Ten has to figure something out because these divisions that they have are pathetic, absolutely pathetic. Ohio State and Michigan, first off, those are the 2 best teams in the Big Ten most of the years. If not, it's Michigan State or it's Penn State, and they're all on one side. You got an Iowa team who, let's be honest, is not that good. I don't know how they were able to win 10 games, but it's a cakewalk.
They have a Big Ten championship. That's what helped them all year. I think they led the country in interceptions.
I think they had a pretty good defense, and they played shitty teams. Purdue scored 40-something on them. When they actually had to play teams, they weren't able to do much. But their defense was good, and their offense was that bad that made the defense look worse in some cases. But it's just I don't know. The Big Ten championship fucking sucks every year because of this. And it's I don't know how you change it because geographically it's set up like that, but I don't know. It just kind of sucks to watch every year because the team from the East is going to win it. Anything else on Saturday? I mean, do you guys all agree Bryce Young locked up his Heisman? I mean, I don't think there's really any.
To go back on that, you could say the same thing, or not completely, but the SEC West is very similar to the Big Ten, whatever Ohio State side is, because
but the SEC
Georgia
SEC West has
won, but that's pretty much it up until Auburn in 20. Wait, is Auburn on the other side?
They're on the East. They're with Bama.
Wait a minute, which one's the strong side?
It's Bama's side with LSU, Auburn. That's
Well, the
West,
East, Florida was ass too.
Yeah, it's the weak side of the SEC. So the non-Alabama side, they have trouble winning it.
Yeah, but
I think Tennessee will be up and coming if that coach stays. I think.
but also the previous 10 years before Bama got good, the other side won it like every year. Tennessee, Florida, and Georgia would win it every year. So like that at least has some competition sometimes. In reality, do either of you think in the next 10 years a team from the Big Ten West will win a Big Ten championship?
Oh God, probably.
You think a Wisconsin or one of them will beat Michigan, Ohio State?
Sure.
1 out of 10, I would take the bet out of 1 out of 10.
I mean, it hasn't happened in the last 9 years, so.
Well, it's got to happen at some point, right?
No, it does not at all.
Well, it will.
But, like, to your point, I mean, like, Georgia at least has won it. And then, like I said, Florida and Tennessee and Georgia kind of dominated the 2000s. So, like.
Florida actually only won it twice in the 2000s. I'm sorry, 3 times.
3 times. So, 2000, 2006, 2008.
Yeah.
I mean, you have teams that, like, that at least has competition in it, though.
When did Ohio State do their divisions? 2014? 2011?
Well, you remember they did them in the first one. It wasn't like East versus West. It was like Legends versus
Legends.
Yeah.
That sounds like a 10-year-old made it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know exactly when they went to the exact East versus West, but let's see. Right here, you have Michigan, Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State, Ohio State, Michigan State. So the last time a team won it was Wisconsin in 2012, and that was the year that Ohio State was on probation. I want to say 2013 was the first year they went to East-West.
Yeah, and also when they made that, they just made it so lopsided too. That was the bad part.
Yeah, but like, how else are you going to do it? That's how every other conference is geographically. That's what I'm saying.
No,
how do you fix it?
I think it's just very lopsided in terms of how good the teams are.
Yeah, I just don't know how you fix it because I don't know if it'll happen because like the teams on the other side aren't historically good. Like Wisconsin, yes, sometimes, but I feel like their program's kind of going downhill.
No,
Other than that,
I kind of wish Wisconsin didn't poop their pants because
they would have gave Michigan a better game.
Because look who's beating Ohio State, teams that run the ball.
Ohio State?
Because
you mean they would have played Michigan, Ryan? Wisconsin.
Yeah, they would have played Michigan, but.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, never mind. My entire thing's screwed up then.
I mean, Wisconsin still would have gave a way better game than Iowa. I mean,
for sure, I agree with that. But like, it's like, I mean, Wisconsin's 8-4, and we're sitting here saying they'd give a better game. Like that, this side fucking blows, and it's like Iowa's never winning that. Northwestern somehow wins the West every third year, and we know they have zero chance to beat any of those teams. So it's like, I don't know. But like I said, I don't know what you do.
Wasn't it in like 2016 when Penn State beat Wisconsin? Wasn't Wisconsin like murdering them and Penn State came back though?
They're up like 14. They weren't murdering them.
Dude, I thought it was like 28-7 at one point.
I think they were up double digits. I don't think it was a murder, but if they were up 21 points, it was in the first quarter and they started coming back. There was one year that Iowa played Michigan State. Michigan State won 9-6. That was like the worst game ever. But
yeah, it was 16. Wisconsin was up 28-7.
I just don't think there's anything to you. I mean, don't cater. I mean, they want to win and get better players or coach better, whatever you want to do. So,
you mean cater? They're not going to give wins, obviously.
Well, I know, but don't switch teams around just so the other side can get a championship, conference championship.
I don't think they'll ever switch teams around because I don't know how you would. Geographically, it just works out perfectly.
So, who knows?
Okay.
Also, Nebraska's the best ever 3-9 team.
Yeah.
Marcus Freeman hired at Notre Dame. Everyone kind of figured that was going to happen once they got all the support. Ryan's podcast broke the news.
By the
What do you
way,
guys think?
I was a nervous wreck sending that out because, like,
I know. Like, you
because
thought you were going to get
well,
crucified if you were
Katie
wrong.
was like, no, don't do it, like blah blah, and I was like, no.
Who cares if you're wrong? Like,
I
send it
know.
out.
Yeah.
Like, who
So
cares?
she was like, what if we're wrong? And then I was like,
Who cares?
we don't have any credibility anyway, so might as well do it. And then,
But also,
then I sent it out, and I was like, oh god, like what if we are wrong?
But also, half the comments responding back to you was just telling you guys are wrong. So, like, it was like, it doesn't matter. Like,
and then they were asking us for our source. No one's gonna give you their source.
yeah, but also, like,
I would've
even
given
when
a
the
fake name.
even when
just
the
done a
guy
fake
even
one,
when the
like,
guys even when the like Irish Illustrated guys or whoever, their source, all they say is they talk to the school. It's not like they actually give a source. They just say school officials told us. So it's like anyone can just fucking say school officials told us. Like, so I don't know why everyone's like source. It's like no one actually gives a real source. Everyone just says like team officials, school officials. So it's like I don't know why they were so
They'll say their favorite words are inside the goog.
yeah, like it
Coach
was
told
just that was a funny, like, it was funny to follow. It was cool to break. It was funny to follow, and it was funny to see like how mad people got, and then also like how people deleted their tweet after it was proven true, and then also like people not giving credit when it was proven true again. So it was just a funny scenario to play out, especially because like we're some no-name podcast and we broke like, I mean that especially that day, that's easily the biggest college football news, and like it was just hilarious to play out. But honestly, if you guys want to hear more about that, go to Irish Insight this week. Listen to that. They'll talk about it the whole fucking time. We're gonna move on.
That was one of our longest podcasts.
Yep. Moving on. Oklahoma hires Clemson's defense coordinator. What do you guys think of the hire?
Perfect hire. I think Brent Venables is one of the best defensive coordinators in college football. Obviously, he's never been a head coach yet. But I think you're getting a guy that's going to definitely change around a defense that's going to be going to the SEC in the next few years to get him to play a lot different than they've been playing in the Big 12. So I think it's a very good hire. Obviously, it's going to be a huge thing on who he hires as an OC because they're going to be calling plays. But
The Ole Miss guy, right?
Is that for sure? I didn't know if it was that for sure yet.
I don't think so, but
Yeah, I think it was a great hire for Oklahoma. I don't think you could have really. I mean, there's obviously other coaches you could have went after, but
yeah,
Brent Venables obviously wanted that job. He coached Oklahoma for a very long time before he went to Clemson, so I'm sure he's happy to be back.
Ryan?
So sorry, I got a dog barking.
Oh, thanks. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Sure, it's not like a child or somebody kidnapped.
Kind of similar to Marcus Freeman. So just to kind of take a back step, Marcus Freeman's it's an exciting hire, but until they have to make game day decisions as a head coach, it's easy to kind of fall in to just be in the shadows as a coordinator because your name's not on the wins and losses yet. So it'll be all sunshine and rainbows up until next September for both. But yeah, I like the hire. I think I'm surprised it took this long for him to get a head coaching spot.
He turned down a lot of jobs.
Yeah, I know he was waiting for the
Yeah.
right one and a big one, and Oklahoma's a pretty big one. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. I think Clemson, I think that they are borderline teetering right now. I know I love Dabo. I think he's a great coach, but Venables was a very, very important piece to Clemson's success for the last 8 or so years.
Yeah, I agree with you on both parts of like Marcus Freeman, sexy hire, great recruiter, all that. But like he's never had to make a 4th-and-1 decision that could cost you the game. He's never had to, as we saw in the Oregon game where they wouldn't pull a quarterback, he's never had to pull a quarterback and make the ultimate decision. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into being a head coach that people, like, can choke under pressure or can make great decisions. And until they're in that situation, we don't know how they handle it. So I'm with you. I think it's a good hire. I think I would bet he does pretty well. But like you said, like, track records of defensive coaches going and doing well is very slim. Now, obviously, in the past few years with like Mel Tucker and Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, like, it's gotten better. But for the most part, like, majority of the good coaches are offensive-minded coaches that become head coaches. So that'll be definitely different. And I agree 110%. I think next year Clemson's season is like their biggest one because they went 9-3 in the shitty-ass ACC. So that right there is like, okay, are they going to be better or what's going on? And then you turn around next year, and let's be honest, they probably go 7-5, 6-6 if their defense wasn't a top 5 defense in the country. And that's not anything to do with Dabo. Like, that's all their defensive side, which Dabo doesn't, play with. If they're not great next year, and I don't even necessarily mean great, I guess 10 wins, like, we're on the verge of, like, is Clemson slowly starting to kind of go back to normal? Because their last 2 recruiting classes aren't what they were. When they were on those stretches, they were 1-2 or 3 every year. This year, I think they're like 8,
Or
which
9.
They're 9, which is still good, but like that's not.
Yeah.
But it's not what was like. They were 1-2 for a reason, and they were winning national championships for a reason. And the moment you start losing and losing and losing, and maybe the ACC is starting to catch up a tad bit, maybe not a lot, but like this year, I think the ACC was better as a whole than normal. So as a Clemson guy, you're not able to just walk into Pitt and Wake Forest back-to-back weeks and be like, oh, these are cakewalks, and we could play bad and still win. Like, those teams can now beat you, which makes it tougher too. Now, they're not obviously great. They're not playing in the Big Ten or SEC, but you're not going to win every game like they do. And I think we all can agree the past 5 years, they've had some close calls. And if they're in the Big Ten or the SEC, they probably don't go undefeated because they had some scary games, but they were playing like fucking Boston College with a backup quarterback. So they're able to win.
Yeah.
I think next year is a huge, huge year for Clemson, especially because college football is such a momentum sport. And once that momentum gets lost, next thing you know, you could be 9-3, 10-2 every year, but you just can't get over that hump to get back into the playoffs.
And it's not even their like if they were losing their coordinator, that's fine. Well, sometimes it can be fine, but they're losing their coordinator and a whole bunch of starters on defense, so they're kind of getting at both ends.
No, yeah, they're going to be completed on defense.
Like this year their defense saved most of their season. Next year, they might have to score. They might have to win 45-42.
Yeah, and does anyone trust DJ to score 45 points a game? I don't
know.
Like, that's what I agree. Like,
they just lost one of the receivers too. Frank Latson's transferring.
You're putting 2 things combined with losing the D coordinator and then losing majority of your defensive players. So it's like, I mean, it's gonna be interesting next year. Who knows? But moving on, Miami goes out, hires Cristobal. What do you guys think about this hire?
I think it's a good hire too. Obviously, it's going to be a little hard. Miami hasn't really, minus the one season, I think was 5 years ago when they won like 10 games. What was the year they blasted Notre Dame like 41-9 at home?
2017.
4 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. Outside of that, I mean, I feel like he's going to have to do a lot of working to get a lot of people bought back into that program right now, just because they've been struggling the last few years. But I think it was a good hire. It's also a guy that wanted to go back to Miami. He played there. That's his alma mater. It's a guy that's going to care to coach there. It really just all depends on how they do underneath him, and they have to give it a few seasons too, I think, to really get it going. If they hire him after like 2 years, they're stupid in my opinion. But it's going to take 3 or 4 years, so I think really getting Miami going again. Yeah, I like the hire though.
I think this could be a mirror image. 2022 Miami could be a mirror image of 2021 Texas. As far as they might start out a little bit hot, and then they lose the big game or whatever, and then the players just kind of mail it in, and it's a culture thing. There was a culture thing with Texas this year, and the culture sucks in Miami. It's sucked for who knows how long. So yeah, I don't think he's gonna be flirting with an ACC championship next year, even the year after that. But I think the landscape of college football in the South and the Southeast will start to even out a little bit. So I don't think it's going to be as easy for the Sabans, the Dabos, the Jimbo Fishers of college football to just go into Florida and take who they want. Because I think the guy from Florida State, I think he's starting to slowly turn it around as well.
Well, I think that's like a thing of, Willie Taggart was just a horrible hire at Florida State. I think everyone can agree on that one. But like the guy at Florida State, they wanted him to go 8-4, 9-3 in year one, and that was just not happening. Like you said with Texas, like Sark's got guys that just don't give a shit. He doesn't have his own guys. He doesn't have guys who want to play. He doesn't have guys who give a shit. They had that whole rant where the D-line coach was chewing everyone's ass out. Instead of like the guys carrying, they're filming it.
Yeah.
Like that just shows that they don't.
They're talking about.
Huh?
That coach is talking about kids like that, the one that was filming.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, get the fuck off the team. So, but all these schools with the money and the boosters, they like win now. It's like, dude, you got to give these guys 3 years who are walking into shit situations, because until they get the culture change, until they get guys in that like that want to be there, that want to play, there's too many of like these Miami, Texas, Florida State guys who, they're the 4-star recruit, and it's cool to go play at those schools because they grew up watching them be cool and big and win and stuff like that. So they think they're the big man on campus. It's like, dude, no, that's why Alabama pumps your brakes every fucking time you guys play. Cristobal, I don't know. I think it's an okay hire. I actually don't think he's that good of a head coach. I think he benefited from playing in a shitty Pac-12 during a time where Stanford went down, where USC's been horrible. And Oregon, for the most part, I think a somewhat easy place to win at, especially when USC sucks. I think it's a very easy place to win at. But like when it came to like actual coaching decisions, now I will give him credit. I think the Ohio State game was one of the best coached games I've seen in a while. But I also think a lot of that was Joe Moorhead. And but like, I don't know, like he hasn't really done anything to impress me that much. I mean, in terms of Miami, I guess like the only other person I would have thought about is I would have called Lane Kiffin. And if he would have told me no, I would have just like Cristobal's probably the next best thing. Like Miami is not as sexy about a place to be at as it used to be. So I'm sure like their pickings aren't as great as it used to be. But I mean, it's all right hire. It's a good hire, I think. I think one thing he will do is like Cristobal's a real big culture guy. So I think he will change that, which maybe that is what Miami like truly needs instead of like a very, very great coach.
He's also known as a very good recruiter too, right?
I think he's a pretty good recruiter.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, like I think he was able to benefit from USC sucking and being on the West Coast at Oregon. Like he's going to get more kids than Manny Diaz did. Manny Diaz was a fucking horrible hire by Miami. They freaked out once Mark Richt left and had no clue what they were going to do. But, yeah, he's going to recruit Miami. I mean, playing there, you also are able to you understand what it takes and what it was and whatnot. But, like, they're supposed to build a stadium on campus. I think that's big. Like, playing out in Hard Rock is, like, 45 minutes from where they're campus is. No one goes. No, like the only time someone goes is if Notre Dame plays down there now. So it's like I think that'll help. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Miami, I think it's like a B+ hire. In terms of like college landscape, I think it's like a C. I think Notre Dame and Oklahoma, I would like on paper, I would give it like a B+. But like Ryan said, like they're both D coordinators who have never been head coaches, and you don't know how they're going to play out. Also, did you guys see that thing now, though? Like with Billy Napier at Florida,
5 coaches from Bama and 15.
That coaching staff is insane.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin's the head coach at Ole Miss, who finished in the top 10. Mel Tucker's the head coach at Michigan State. Kirby Smart's the head coach at Georgia. Billy Napier's the head coach at Florida. And Mario Cristobal's the head coach at Miami. Like, that's pretty absurd. And if you want to even go that way, like Mario Cristobal was the head coach at Oregon, who went 10-3. So like that's pretty insane.
Yeah. Did he have 3 10-win seasons at Oregon?
Well, I don't think so because last year was COVID. They only played 6 games.
Right.
But they did win the Pac-12 last year.
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton said that in their podcast. He was like, I tackled the guy out of balance on the Alabama sideline, and I get up and I see it's like Saban. He saw like Saban, Kiffin, and someone else like standing right there, like looking at
That's
him.
what I'm saying. Like, but like that's in to Dabo's credit. Now they haven't panned out like Saban's coaches have, but like there was a stretch where every year his offensive coordinator was getting snatched to go somewhere. Like you remember Chad Morris bounced around. The guy at South Florida is a head coach. Now their DC's at Oklahoma. Like that's what a good coaching staff is. When Pete Carroll was at
Sarkisian on that staff too as an analyst.
I think that was the year before he came. Did they win it all that year?
They won with
I
Sark.
thought-
Yeah.
I know,
I thought
but
Sark because I thought Sark then called that bowl game, or did Sark come in 16? I'm looking right now.
I think Sark came in 16 is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Sark
I think
came
he
in-
came. Yeah, I was gonna say I think Sark came the year after.
Yeah,
But
okay.
but like these good coach like Pete Carroll when he's at USC, Lane Kiffin, Sark, all those guys were on that staff too. Like to be a good coaching staff, you have to have. I know you're gonna lose them, but you have to have good coaches. Now, obviously, Bama's like a hub now because if you get fired, everyone's like, "Can I go to Bama?" And I mean, Nick Saban's just been able to maintain that. But I don't know. It'll be interesting for the first time though. Like in terms of recruiting, like you said, Ryan, in the South, like I do think you have like guys now there, even like a Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, if he can get them good. The stripper guy, what's his name? Hugh Freeze showed that Ole Miss can get recruits too. So like there's a bunch of guys going in and out now in these schools. And I hope Mario Cristobal does good. And I hope the guy from Florida State does well because it'd be great for the ACC to have Florida State, Miami. It looks like Narduzzi's actually starting to build something at Pitt, which is another one that a year ago some people were like, fire him. And it's like, just give this guy some time. So it'll be interesting for college football as a whole. Now, we're going to do probably a show next week of all bowl games, but just for tonight, we're going to give our one lock on the New Year's 6 games. That includes the playoffs, obviously. Do you guys have your one lock?
Yup.
Zach can start.
My lock for the New Year's 6 game, it's mainly where this line is at and the rest of the lines. I just don't know what players are going to be sitting out and who's going to be playing. So I'm going to go with the game that's in the playoffs. And I'm going to take Michigan plus 8.5 versus Georgia. I feel like that's just a lot of points to play with. Right now, Michigan's defense is it's like top 10 statistically in points per game. And I think they're top 20 when it comes to passing and rushing in defense. Their offense is very it's even in terms of rushing and passing per game. They hit right around 200 yards per game. They're actually top 10 they're 13th in the country in scoring, which I didn't even realize that till I looked that up. They average 37.7 points per game. I know they're going up one of the best defenses in the country with Georgia, but I think maybe they can use that Alabama game tape from the SEC title and use some spreads and use some options that Bama did to kind of expose the defense a little. Obviously, you don't have the same type of skill players on the outside, but I feel like you can use the same kind of concept in doing so. Also, I just like them plus 8.5 because they're riding high on their first ever Big Ten title with Jim Harbaugh, beating Ohio State for the first time since 2011. Harbaugh now gets a month to prepare for a Georgia team, a game that actually matters. And I still think Harbaugh is a good coach, so I think that's going to play a factor into it too. Obviously, Kirby's been in the playoffs, so he knows how to prepare for a game like this as well. Also, you got Aiden Hutchinson, who's going to the Heisman ceremony in New York. It's going to be a big platform for him to kind of showcase his skills still. He's now projected the number 1 overall pick going into the NFL draft based off this season he's had so far. So I expect him to have just a monstrous game and kind of come after Georgia. But, yeah, I like Michigan plus 8.5 and then a little sprinkle on the money line.
My turn?
Ryan?
That was good, Zach. Mine's not going to be that long or in depth. I'm going Utah over Ohio State money line in the Rose Bowl. Ohio State, they've played 2 physical teams this year, and they've lost both, Oregon and Michigan. Oregon not as much as Michigan, but Michigan, you could just tell that as the game went on, they were going to overwhelm Ohio State's front 7, and that's what Utah loves to do. And we saw it both twice against Oregon. They'll out-physical you for 60 minutes, and yeah, and I just think Kyle Whittingham, he's probably one of the most underrated coaches in America. If he's not, he should be in consideration for the Coach of the Year. He won't get it, but he should definitely be on a ballot. And Ohio State, you got to think like it's kind of a consolation prize that who knows. I think it's kind of weird how bowl games for certain teams, if they're not in the playoffs, they just kind of don't get up for it.
You could also see Olave and the other receiver sitting out too.
Yeah,
I was gonna say the only thing like for Ohio State is their quarterback's a freshman, so he's not gonna sit out. But like, I think Olave will play. I don't know. Both of them could sit out.
Jiggle,
And like,
because he can't even be drafted yet. But
yeah, but their other guy.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of his name. Oh, Garrett.
Yeah,
Wilson.
Garrett Wilson. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Ohio State, if Utah can play physical and they run the ball, they got a good big running back. Fucking dude was homeless last year, which was crazy. I don't know if you guys saw that, but yeah,
it's just weird.
And also, Kyle Whittingham's like 14-1 in bowl games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think it's ever a bad bet to pick Kyle Whittingham in a bowl game.
And Utah, shout out them for winning the Pac-12. I think they had reached it 2 of the last 3 years before this year and failed to win. So they finally get it this year. And, yeah, I just think they'll be pumped up. So,
it's kind of crazy. They will definitely be more pumped up than Ohio State. Now, Ohio State has more talent, so they still could win, but Utah will be more jacked up for this game for sure. My lock, honestly, I'm going to go the Irish, and this is more so – this is the first time I think they're playing in a big bowl game, and they're not like most of the time it's like, okay, they're going to lose. Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl, anytime they're in the playoffs, like they always have bad matchups, and it's like I don't think most people – they're never a favorite. I think them hiring Marcus Freeman is a huge thing too. Like if they were just playing out, I don't think they would maybe win this game because no one would know the certainty of what's going on. I think everyone wants to win for Marcus Freeman. So you're going to see them take this game as serious as possible. And with how Oklahoma State lost their Big 12 championship, I don't know if they're going to care as much. Also, Sanders is one of the fucking worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. I don't know how they average that many points per game because that dude's a fucking bum and a half. But also, Oklahoma State's running back who led their team in rushing and touchdowns didn't play in the Big 12 championship. He, hurt his leg during warmups. I doubt he plays, which their other running backs were not great. This could be a very low-scoring game, but I do think Notre Dame covers the 2.5. I think Notre Dame wins. Honestly, solely just because I think they're going to have, their greatest month of practice. It's new juice. Everyone's happy.
They feel like they have a reason to play this game.
They could go and win this game by 30, and everyone's like, Marcus Freeman's the greatest hire, and then go to Ohio State and lose by 30 next year, and everyone's like, wait, what? Maybe it wasn't. And I wouldn't be shocked at all by either of those things, but I just think they have something to play for. And Oklahoma State doesn't do what beats Notre Dame teams. So I like Notre Dame minus 2.5.
They said Kyron Williams has already stated he's playing this game.
He's
as of now.
He said as of right. Yeah, he said as of right now I'm playing. I'm not sure though. So he didn't really say he's playing.
I don't think Hamilton will play.
No, he's not.
They already said he wouldn't. They already said unless they make the playoffs, he's not playing. They already put that out there, which This game means nothing to him.
So as far as that game goes, I think Notre Dame makes the average quarterbacks look worse than what they are. And that might happen this game. Like you saw what they did against Georgia Tech. That guy looked helpless. Virginia's quarterback looked helpless. So
Virginia's quarterback is a stretch. That was his first career college start.
yeah, well, they made him look helpless.
I mean, it's his first career college start. Spencer Sanders has played an entire college season.
Did you see him play football Saturday, Zach? It looked like his first fucking start. The kid was just throwing the ball to the other team every fucking play. That dude sucks. Let's talk about that real quick. That made me so fucking mad. They're two goal line offenses to end the game. They were on the goal line twice in the fourth quarter. Were the worst 7 play calls for a goal line I've ever seen in my life. They haven't been able to run the ball the entire game. They bring in this jumbo package thinking that they're going to run the ball and get stuffed 3 straight times. They have an athletic quarterback and a running back who's not like great. And a receiver that no one on Baylor could guard. Even when Oklahoma State's quarterback was fucking terrible, they still couldn't guard him. That was the most – I don't know, like, how these guys get paid this much money to call those plays. But sorry to cut you off, Ryan. I just needed this. That was one of the most frustrating
He
games
was
I've
not
watched
good
in my
all season, Spencer Sanders, to be honest. He was a very average quarterback.
I just think Notre Dame's front seven's really good, and they'll make Spencer Sanders make quick decisions and hopefully poor decisions. And I think Oklahoma State has a really good defense. I think they rank number 1 in both tackles for loss and sacks in the country. They have over 50 sacks. So
yeah, they do have a lot of tackles for loss and sacks.
So
they kept talking about that.
Now with Notre Dame's offensive line, do they get the September and October offensive line, or do they get the November offensive line? So
I think they're young. They're going to get the November offense. Like, these guys are going to be fired up to play.
I hope so.
Do you think that if Blake Fisher is fully healthy, he plays?
For this one game? No, I don't think so. No.
What's he injured with?
He hurt it.
Or something in his knee.
No chance. No chance he plays. He's a freshman. No chance you play.
But it's nice.
Like,
next year you have they have so many options now because like Joe Alt came out of nowhere. I don't know if you listen to us or follow our Twitter. He was offered as a 250-pound tight end, and they basically offered him off his bloodlines because his dad was in the NFL. He's in the Ring of Honor for some team. I don't know what. It might be the Chiefs. And he just came out of nowhere after 3 injuries. I think as Blake Fisher got hurt, Tosh Baker got hurt, Michael Carmody wasn't playing to their standard. And so they threw in Joe Alt, and he kind of just took his chance and ran with it. So next year they have 2 – you've got Blake Fisher, who still has freshman eligibility, and a true sophomore, and Joe Alt as your bookend tackles for the next years. So,
that must just run in the Carmody name. Just don't play well when you wear a Notre Dame fucking uniform. But
I think he was out of. I think he's
Robbie Carmody. He's still considered a freshman. Athletically,
I just could take a right. He should just.
He can play 4 more. He can play 3 more years of college basketball.
He should just.
That is insane.
Just get a degree and leave.
Yeah,
dude, I would stay at Notre Dame and get my fucking master's.
But I think Carmody.
Yeah, but they would probably take him off scholarship after once he's senior. It'd be like, dude, you're just a fucking body that does not need to be here, and you suck.
He said took a red shirt. It's a COVID year.
All right, that's it. Next week will be our bowl mania, bowl special. All the lines are kind of like slowly pouring in. But always keep in mind there are going to be a lot of guys who do not play. So, but like Ryan said, taking a Utah pick, Utah's not going to have probably anybody not play. Ohio State might.
Yeah.
Like those kind of schools normally don't have guys sit out. Honestly, I'd be shocked if Oklahoma State had any guys sit out, but I still think Notre Dame's better than them. Oklahoma's shit. But
I don't think Notre Dame's gonna have any either. I think Kyle Hamilton. I don't even count that anymore. They may have.
He hasn't played. Yeah, I was gonna say he hasn't played in a while.
Kyron Williams would be the only one, but then I like Logan Diggs and I like Chris Tyree. So
yeah, and Zach picked a playoff game, so Michigan. The only time Michigan has a guy sit out is if he's actually fucking hurt. No one's sitting out. And
I
like
don't know if I trust Cade McNamara. I just don't trust him.
I agree. I didn't take the pick.
No.
Isn't his name
Zach might be
Aiden?
Right. Zach might be
Aiden
right.
Hutchinson.
The game might
Wait,
be
is it
going to
Cade McNamara and Aiden Hutchinson?
Yeah.
All right. Aiden Hutchinson's mom is a fucking smoke.
His dad played at Michigan too.
Yeah, he broke his record. But
Yeah,
also
McNamara.
Marcus Freeman's wife, whoo, they might be the best looking first couple in college football. I'm gonna just throw that out
They
there.
have a nice family. Yeah.
I don't think there's any not a lot. Horny Twitter got a hold of our tweets, and everyone thinks Marcus Freeman's hot. His wife's a smoke, so good couple to have in South Bend. But all right, we'll be back next week. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.